Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, a little Lenormand corner of Khải and Nguyên. My name is Khải. And today we are looking at the energy surrounding our favorite Queen of Tears duo, Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Soo Hyun, specifically for the month of August 2026. So now if you have been following the news, you know it's a massive turning point for Kim Soo Hyun, and he's making a grand return to the spotlight after his long hiatus. And today we are doing a classic 5 Lenormand spread to see what August 2026 had in store for their dynamic, their shared energy, and what has been developing between them. All right. So before I shuffle the cards, I just want to make sure that you know this video I made is only for entertainment purposes. All right, please resonate what suits you. All right, so before we lay out today's 5 spread, let's quickly look at where the energy are coming from. So if you have watched my previous astro clock readings for them, here are the cards that was laid down for each of them. On top we have ship, cross, anchor for Kim Soo Hyun. So his cards predicting a major journey, and like the ship, that is heavily tied to his work. While he's carrying heavy emotions and deep personal belief, as in the cross, his path ends safe and sound with the anchor. So meaning that after navigating the storm, he's finding safety, stability, in a place to truly settle down. And also that it could be that in August he will have more and more overseas trips. He will go outside South Korea more and working on all of the projects. And the cross is the belief, which means probably he could return to all of the previous and existing projects and start working on that, because people are still having a lot of trust and belief in him. All right. Yes, okay, let's go into Ji-won's previous cards. So she had the moon, the bear, and the safe. Her cards pointed to a highly intense period of public spotlight in dealing with powerful, influential figures or managements, her boss, her talent agencies, or her new work projects. Okay, the safe want a sudden, sharp decision ahead. So whether it's dealing with pressures or deciding who in her inner circle to trust. Okay, so for in the last couple months, especially in August, it could be some tension, some pressures, anxiety for Ji-won, especially tied to her work. All right, so let's move this card to the side, and we're gonna do the follow-up reading. So as always, I will go ahead with Soo Hyun coffin. Okay, something that's come to an end. I hope it could be like a legal case that is closing and give him some favorable positions. We have child. Oh, okay, so there is an ending and there is a beginning. We have snake. Snake could be enemies, could be some jealousy, could be someone that is very smart, very tactical, strategic. Okay, we have fox. So okay, so which is very similar to the snake over here, and sometimes I said the fox, that is Kim Soo Hyun as well. So someone that is very tactical and strategic. Okay, So I feel like in August, there may be some events, some projects that is going to an end and open a new chapter for Kim Soo Hyun, which I think can either cut him off from these enemies, these jealousy and all of these bad schemes. However, I think it's gonna open a new chapters for him, and with all of those intelligent people, I think he gonna have like a very good plan and strategies for his comeback, his future in his career, and all of the upcoming projects. Okay, we have bear. That is someone has the power. Okay, someone that is giant can protect him, can give him advice, and sometimes it could be Kim Soo Hyun's own power, his own protection. Okay, and we have letter. That is some official news that will come. In clouds, which is the confusion, something that is not clear. Okay, but I think if this is happening at the beginning of August, it's gonna be finished. So that all the confusion gonna be cut. Okay, and then the clear communication, official letters and announcement will come. We have dog, which represents loyalty, friends, supporters, his legal representative, lawyer. And we have stork. That is a significant change, something that that mark a milestone. Okay, so let's start with the diagonal like here, as represent the central, the core of the story. So we have coffin, bear, and stork. The coffins represent a major ending, a completion of a cycle, a period of a deep hibernation. So I think it could represent his recent hiatus, a time where he completely shut out the noise to recharge. Okay, so now he can step out of this ending here. So I don't know if you can recall all of the previous readings I have done for Kim Soo Hyun, that I said he tried to hide himself in a corner in the dark, and nobody can really understand his deep in his heart, in his mind. But then finally, I think now, starting July 2026 and coming to the end of the year, now in August 2026, he will step out of this buried hidden box and walk outside to the sun. All right, and he can show off himself as this powerful bear. Okay, this bear represents a massive personal power, authority, and financial strength. So to me, this bear shows that he is stepping back into the industry, not just as an actor, but an absolute powerhouse. Okay, so he is reclaiming his throne. All right, and also maybe a giant's character, a massive guy with a very powerful voice, have a high hierarchy in society, and very they have like a powerful position in society or in the industry, can help Kim Soo Hyun. Okay, and now we have stork. That is where the power gonna take him to. So the way the energy flow from the ending to the power, and now it got into the stork, it represents a really good flow. Okay, it represents movement, upgrading, and positive changes. Right, so I think August gonna be great for Kim Soo Hyun. Yeah, alright, so let's take a look at the corner. We have coffin, snake, stork, and clouds. The coffin and the snake together showing me that Kim Soo Hyun is completely shedding old attachments, the toxic cycles, or the deceptive associates from his past. The snake can represent hidden rivalries or people in the industries who didn't have his best interests at heart. But I think in the last year and a half, he have to confront with a lot of people. So I think the snake here can represent not only his direct enemies, but also some of the commercial brands that are filing the court case suing against Kim Soo Hyun. Okay. Because of the existence of the clouds over here, I think there is still some lingering confusion or the mental fog here. Okay, he is actively flying away from it by the stork. All right, so I think he is stepping out and transiting out of the shadows. I think he may no longer allowing external gossip or confusing situation to dictate his peace of mind anymore. Okay, so I think finally his core power gonna give him a lot of extra strength and support to push him out of the dark. Right. Let's look at this row here. We have coffin, child, and snake. So I think he recently ended a phase of hibernation to make a fresh, vulnerable start. But he had to navigate some sharp, clever, or tricky dynamics. Okay, so Kim Soo Hyun was highly cautious about who to trust as he stepped back into the game. All right, so with the snake over here, it gave me the two flow of thoughts. One is negative and the other one is positive. The negative that I already mentioned is about his enemies and rivalries, but the positive is a new fresh start, and that has to be a very clever and intelligent step that he will take into the future. So I think it corresponds quite closely with the middle road here with the fox, the bear, and the letter. The fox and the bear show him working incredibly smart and strategically behind the scenes. Okay, he is protecting his resources, or there are some people actually protect him. Okay, support him a lot. And with the letter here, he is currently reviewing the major official documents, contracts, or script offers with a highly analytical eye. He isn't just signing anything, he's playing chess. He's very tactical at the moment. All right, but like I said, the letter here can also represent like an official announcement or issuance from the court. All right, it have a lot of legality matters that is related. Okay, and at the bottoms we have clouds, dog, and stork. So heading into the new future, we can see that there will be some temporary downs or external noise, but Kim Soo Hyun is surrounded by a deeply loyal, trusted friend or partner. Okay, it could be his company or his loyal fans, loyal supporters, and his friends in the industry. All right, so this loyal connection helps him clear the fog, the confusion here, and successfully make that flight toward positive change. So I think the stock card is very crucial. To me, it shows that he is not doing this transition alone. He has someone that is very loyal but on his side. Okay, I feel like it's just not like one person, but that could be a group of people that is always stay side by side with him. Okay, and because of the stork here, so I think August could be a massive turning point for Kim Soo Hyun as well. Okay, I think coming back to the astral clock with the ship, the cross, and the anchor, I think he gonna have a lot of opportunities to continue on his existing and future proposals and projects. Yeah, and then it's gonna be a milestone, okay, for August 2026. All right, let me see if I can pull out anything else from this deck. Okay, let's look at the middle column. We have child, bear, and dog. Okay, this column is very beautiful. I think Kim Soo Hyun is actively focusing on protecting his new beginning, okay, by using his mental and physical strength, and he is supported by a loyal companion. Okay, so yeah, this column tell me that in August he gonna show up more of his energetic side or image to the public. Okay, and we can have a lot of hope on that. Maybe his image in August gonna be released more and more, and we can see more of his active side from it. He's gonna be more active in August. Okay, and I think I really hope that a good news gonna come out in August as well. Okay, so yeah, for like this column, I think he has been through a lot of the tricky situations, and finally he's gonna get it through the official and written announcement and written contract to clear the batteries. Okay, and using all of that clarity to launch a massive and positive life transition. All right, so the first deck is very beautiful. Let's move on to the second spread to see what else we can get for Kim Soo Hyun in August 2026. Oh, we have the clouds again. Okay. Anchor. This one. Clover. Have some luck, some opportunities here. Moon. All right. Like I said earlier in this deck, maybe in August, Kim Soo Hyun gonna release a lot of public images. Okay, so the public gonna see his appearance more and more. Lilies, let's say harmonies. This could be about a man, all right? Someone that is very wise. Can also talking about the long-term tradition. So in this case, I think maybe August gonna give him some signals about his long-term career growth. Oh, hearts. So I think it's gonna go together really well with the dog here. So he's gonna receive a lot of love from his supporters, from his fans, from his families and friends, his loved ones, or he will also shows his love, his appreciation towards the people that has been supporting him from day one. mountains on top of the clouds over here. So yeah, it would not be something that is super easy for Kim Soo Hyun. He may have some challenges on his comeback path. But also the mountains over here could represent like the real mountains in nature. So maybe he can have some work in the nature, or the mountains over here could mean that it's a far distance, okay, domestically, while the ship over here could represent the overseas trip. Okay, yeah, so probably in August he will travel across the country or outside the country for his work, his jobs, or even for his personal pleasure. And we have the house, which is on top of the dog here for protection, and the house also means the protection, the foundation. And also I said the lilies earlier could talk about his long-term progress for his career. And also we have the house here, it represents a strong foundations for Kim Soo Hyun's career. So with the lily in between of the anchor and the house over here, I can see that he settled out safe and sound, and even build up his foundation more and more for his future in future career planning. All right, so very positive over here. Okay, and we have the key, which is the key answer, the solution. And yeah, so I think the first column that have some unfavorable cards like the clouds and the mountains, but it's gonna happen at the beginning of August. Going toward middle and the end of August, everything gonna be all right. I think everything is very beautiful over here. He's gonna show up a lot in front of the public. He's gonna show off his love. He's gonna receive a lot of love, and he's gonna have a lot of the opportunities to finalize his long-term career plan. Okay, and with the key over here, I hope that this key is the answer to unlock the door for Kim Soo Hyun to grow even more, and also this is the key answer, the evidence to move toward the final announcement over here. So once again, let's start with the diagonal line that give us the main spiritual storyline here. So we have clouds, lilies, and key. So the clouds, it represents the past doubts, mental confusion, and temporary worries. But look at where he is fighting his clarity. This one leads to the heart of the reading directly to the lilies. So in Lenormand, lilies represent peace, maturity, deep wisdom, and a pure enduring devotion. So it is an incredibly calming and protective card. Okay, and this one had a male energy. Okay, much older than Kim Soo Hyun. So I think this person can give Kim Soo Hyun some support. And I'm not too sure if the bear here can describe some characteristic of the lily man, but this person is a very giant, bigger than Soo Hyun, older than Soo Hyun, very smart, and have a high position in society that can give Kim Soo Hyun some advice and support. All right. And then finally, we have the key. The key is the card of solutions, destiny, and the major breakthrough. So to me, this tells me is that by tapping into a mature and deeply peaceful mindset of the lilies, Kim Soo Hyun is completely dissolving any lingering mental fog or public pressures in the clouds. And this inner peace is literally the key to unlock his future success and happiness. All right, so in the first deck, I said he wouldn't have to look to all of his strategies and plan, okay, for his career growth. So I think to this deck, I can see that he already have the key answer for himself, okay? To the point that Kim Soo Hyun already reached his peaceful in his mind. And also he has been seeking for some help from a mature and wise person to help him out with the path. So I think August, he already have a set plan that is very good for him to carry out for his career. All right, so let's take a look. At the corner, we have clouds, clover, mountain, and key. So even though the main energy is still beautiful, but we have some obstacles over here with the clouds and the mountains. But I can see that Kim Soo Hyun has been shifting from like a mental worries directly to stroke up unexpected luck and joys, and he have some beautiful moments and beautiful opportunity to enjoy that. And then he also can recognize some of the block in obstacle, but he successfully finding the solution to bypass it with the key over here. Okay. So in overall, I think the corner of this deck tell me that at the beginning of August, maybe there will be some minor challenges. Okay. I said minor challenges even though there is a heavy mountains over here, but it is because Kim Soo Hyun will find out the key answer, the solution for him to solve the problem. So to me, these problems are minors. It's not a huge obstacle that's gonna block him for the whole month. All right, and then in August, I think he's gonna be quite lucky, and he's gonna get a lot of opportunities to overcome it. So let's go to the second row. We have the moon, we have the lilies, and the hearts. I really like the central row over here because I feel like my heart is absolutely melting looking at this row. It's beautiful. This is his current reality. So the moon represented deep emotions, romance, and public recognition. The lilies bring purity and mature devotion. And the heart is love that is pure, unconditional love and passion and desires and emotion. So to me, this row is even beyond the beauty. Okay, to me, it shows that his current emotional life is filled with a very deep, quiet, and genuine love. Okay, his love is very mature, very long-lasting. Okay, and the love does not come from one person. It doesn't come from one side. It comes from a lot of his loyal fans, a lot of his families and friends, and his loved one. Okay, so to me, I think August gonna bring him a lot of the lovely energies that he deserves to enjoy them earlier than the moment. Okay, he should have always been loved in showing the love confidently for a long time, not just in the recent time, like especially August. All right, so but yeah, I think hopefully in August he gonna receive even more and more love, and that not just from the fans and his family, but maybe from all of the commercial brands and businesses. Okay, at the bottom we can take a look at his future path. Like I said, the external battery in the mountains here could be a challenge, but because it sits next to the house and the key, I think these two cards reduce the impact of the mountains already. All right, and the house represents his home, his private life, and his family. So with the position of the card like this, I think Kim Soo Hyun is actively building a fortress around his private life to protect it from the outside world. Okay, and with the key right here, locking down and protecting his home and private life is the ultimate key to his lasting happiness. Yeah, so overall, I feel like his August is so promising, and I'm really happy about that. Okay, and you can see that in the overall of the two decks, especially for this one. I think he can handle the heavy obstacle and challenges of being a megastar. Okay, so he feels the weight of the spotlight intensely, and he is actively focused on the stability, the peace in his home, his personal life. He is building a peaceful and grounded and safe sanctuary for himself. Okay, he has decided to step out of the dark and protect himself, his family, and all of the peace for his future happiness that he deserves for. And yeah, I think the two decks that I have laid down for Kim Soo Hyun are so beautiful. Okay, yeah, I think in August he's gonna be even smarter, more strategic, and he's gonna have that power player in his career. Okay, and also he is actively showing the love in his protection to the people surrounding him. Okay, he has found his safe harbor, like that we see in the two anchors over here. All right, and I'm very happy for Kim Soo Hyun because he can do that. All right, yeah, very beautiful energy. All right, so what about Kim Ji Won energies align? How does it gonna align with this beautiful, protective, and loving energies in Kim Soo Hyun? Let's shuffle the cards for Kim Ji Won to see what is gonna be waiting for her in August 2026. Tree, something that is time consuming, or could be about her health, could be something about her family. We have heart. Well, we have mountains again. Clouds. Well, fish. Something that is big in quantity. Could be about money. Could be about her projects. Rain. Could be about her contracts. Could be about a jewelry. Something about a commitment. Okay. We have stars that I hope and dream. We have anchor, that is something that is stable. Okay. And mice. All right, let's see the core flow of her energies. We have tree, represent health, the deep family roots, long-term growth, something that is time consuming. I think she might look at her life and career from a big picture, a long-term perspective. She wants something that is growing slowly and last for a long time. In a noble meaning, could be about her health as well. Okay, and about the fish next to it, we have the fish, which means abundance, wealth, flowing resources, deep emotional sensitivity. I think she is in a flow state of a high value, high career demand, and a financial growth. But this worries me because it leads down to the mice in the bottom right corner here. In Lenormand, the mice represent stress, slow drain, worry, and a little leaks in the energies. So I think if we connect with the previous astro clock, I said that in August she may face some intensive moment with the flow of work, and with the appearance of the mice over here. So I just hope that she doesn't drain herself too much, right? In a positive meaning, I think that Kim Soo Hyun is building a long-term growth and attracting incredible wealth and abundance. So this could be a lot of projects or proposal has been coming to Kim Soo Hyun that bring a very good offer, and then she is constantly reviewing all of those proposals here. Okay, and because of that, she is draining on her energy. She working very hard, but the endless demands of her current success are causing some of her mental fatigue. So yeah, it has the positive meaning, but also have some unpleasure consequences to it. So I really hope that she can take care of herself, take care of her health, and share her flow of thoughts to other people to get some advice, and just don't eat up all of the worries and concerns herself. Okay, yeah, I hope Kim Soo Hyun can really find someone to ask for advice, and don't just do anything by herself that take too much of her energies and her times over here, because working on these things alone by herself is very stressful and it is very hard. Okay, okay, for the overall energies of the deck, we can look at the four corner. We can have the trees energies here, mountains, mice, and the stars. So this can be considered as a powerful picture of an artist aiming high but facing a steep climb. Okay, so up top we see her long-term growth hitting a massive obstacle. So it's not easy to scale the peak she's on right now. But look at the bottom half. We have the stars. That is her highest dreams, hopes in public fame. So even that she battles the daily stress and anxieties of the mice here, I think the four corners tell us that her vision is set on the highest heights, like in the stars here. And though she faces a massive wall, her roots are strong enough to withstand the wear and tear of the journeys. Okay, so I think in August there are quite a bit of work stress, okay, work-related stress for Kim Soo Hyun. And in the previous deck that I have been doing for Soo Hyun, the fish show up quite a lot with the mountain mice and the star as well. So this reminded me about one prediction that I have said before. It could be a delay in the investment of the project that she is doing. Okay, so I feel like sometimes all of the movies and drama projects, it have some challenges in the money flow or the investment from the investor. Okay, so it could causing some delay in the progress of the projects. Okay, so I think because she already have a lot of plans in her schedule, so if one project causing a delay, it will create a domino effect on all of her upcoming events and plans in the future. So I think because of that, Kim Soo Hyun was worried. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at some of the rows here. Let's go to the central. We have the clouds, the fish, and the ring. So I think this is her current situation. I can see the mental fog and confusion surrounding a deep flow of the wealth and emotion that is leading straight to a commitment or a partnership. So to me, I think that shows that it could be because some of the uncertainty of public confusions. I think she is trying very hard to navigate the proper plans in commitment for a lot of the value contracts here. Okay, I feel like all of those commitments, or valuable contracts or networking or connection, a little bit too much that will happen altogether in August for Kim Soo Hyun. She may feel a little bit overwhelming. She may feel some confusion about the clear value of all of the proposal in contracts that she need to look and sign for the contract or commit to all of those proposal. Okay. Yeah. So I think she is under time pressure. Okay, so I think the parties that offer the contracts or the proposal really want to push her to make the decision quickly, but I think Kim Soo Hyun still want to take time to work on it, to think about it carefully before put down her signature. But I think there is a little bit of the conflict about the time agreement on here. Okay, I think that she needs more time. Okay, and I hope that all of those businesses can give her some more time to think about it. Okay. All right, so at the bottom we have anchor. So we have stars, anchor, and mice. I think Kim Soo Hyun is reaching for her dreams in public clarity and finding a way to anchor herself down. However, the mice right next to it suggest that maintaining this stability in the high-stress entertainment industry is going to take a toll. Okay. She has to be very careful not to let small worry eat away at her peace. Right. So that because of that, I want to come back to the first row over here. I really hope that she doesn't deal with the problem by herself. She needs to find her family, her loved one, to share all of her deep thoughts. Okay, so the mountain over here, in this case, I think maybe it's not representing the blocks, but it is something about the domestic matters. Okay, so in like domestic matters, what I mean is the family connection, something that she can feel that she is close to and feel comfortable to share her thought with. Okay, so for this role, I think that don't make a boundary of herself from the family, from her loved one. She needs to be comfortably share those, because I know that it's very difficult to talk about finances or talk about wealth, talk about money, talk about all of the future plans and commitment with all of the big quantity of monetary in it. Okay, so you need to find a very trustworthy person to share all her thoughts. Okay. Okay, let's see if there is anything else I can take from here. Okay. Let's look at the final column here. We have mountain, ring, and mice. I think this column is very honest. It shows a commitment or a contract that is currently blocked by a major obstacle and suffering from some of the external wear and tear or anxiety. So this tells me that while the emotional desire for the partnership is completely there, but the real world obstacles or schedules, the management, the public scrutiny are causing some stress, and they have to fight through the mountain to keep this connection safe. Okay. So I have been talking a lot about the business contracts or commitments. I have not talked anything about the personal life, or because usually if the ring shows up together with the heart, it could talk about some personal settlement, and especially with the anchor over here. But to be honest, in this deck, I don't really feel that there is like personal energies of Kim Soo Hyun in here. So that's why I don't really see a personal commitment about getting married or anything in here. Okay, so this deck is very heavily focused on her work and business, in her career growth. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the second deck to see if there is more information about Kim Soo Hyun to August 2026. Oh, compass. So she needs directions. Okay, because this deck completely tell me that she's lost in all of the overwhelming proposals and offers in August. Okay, we have whip, something that is fast and sudden or repeated. So I think in this situation, I feel like that she constantly receive a lot of business offers, and they are constantly put her under the time pressure to make the decision. Okay, so I think that is what that means. We have the scythe, so together with this. So scythe is, again, it talking about something that is sudden. It had to be like immediate. Yeah, it's quite contrasting with the tree over here, which talking about long term, and the anchor talking about the time consuming as well. We have fish again, so yeah, there's a lot of financial contracts or a lot of money related issues that happen for her. We have the moon, that is her public recognition, her emotion, her fame, her outstanding in the entertainment industry. Okay, so it's quite related to all of the money contracts and that I has been talking about. Okay, because of her fame and her long-term career growth that tied to all the fish in the ring here. Stork, a massive turning point. Tower, this is the isolation or a building, government building, or it could be the her talent management agency. We have hope and dream again. It show up twice right here. And we have the magnifying glass. Okay, so we have compass, moon, and the magnifying glass. Okay, so we'll start with the compass. It represents finding your direction, staying true to your path, and seeking enlightenment. All right. And then it's pointed directly to the moon in the center, the heart of Kim Soo Hyun's reading. So the moon's Kim Soo Hyun intuition, her deep emotions, and her public glory. With the compass guiding her moon, Kim Soo Hyun is aligning her career and her heart with what feels truly authentic to her. And this leads to the magnifying glass that focus on close investigation, scrutiny, and finding the truth. So I think this central line of the diagonal line here, it tells me that Ji-won is actively searching, analyzing, and looking very closely at her choices to make sure she is steering her life in a direction that brings her true emotional and public fulfillment. I think starting from the first deck to the second deck, I think she already make herself taking control of her own narrative. Okay, so maybe she have find someone to ask for guidance, right? All right, so on top we have compass and scythe. These two cards give her sense of direction, but it have some sudden cuts, some sharp decision in it that clearing the away what no longer serves her, Ji-won. Okay, and then at the bottom we have the tower and the magnifying glass. So these two cards is represent the batteries or some official institution or a standing tall in her own fortress, and she is using her deep analysis to make a very sharp and clean break from the external pressures to establish her own independent batteries. So I think she is building her own life and guided by her inner compass with some external guidance as well. Okay. Overall, I think this deck is a little bit better than the first one. One thing that is concerning me is about the whip here that represent the conflict and repetitive argument or high physical and mental stress. Okay, I think she has been spending a lot of energy deciding how to navigate constant pressures or conflicts. So what is her final decision? I think the scythe here will tell her to choose a way to cut the stress out completely. She has to make a sharp and sudden decision to protect her peace. All right. yeah, I think all of the decision that or all of the options that come to Ji-won is they are very difficult to pick, and she have to weigh different factors. But I think in this case, I think she need to move on and remove herself from the emotional factor in it. Okay, like, you know, sometimes if you have to make a very difficult decision, but because you have known the person for a long time, or because there are a lot of emotions involved in it, it's so hard to decide, right? So I think it could be something like that happened to Ji-won. Okay, the emotion is quite heavy, so it's make her hesitant to finalize her decision. Okay, but I think she have to make the decision anyway, because in August, I think she will think more about her dreams, her hope, and what she want to do in the future for her career growth. Okay, and her next movement and upgrade in her career path. I think overall, this deck tells me that her current career and in emotional state is moving in a beautiful and flowing directions. She is upgrading her lifestyle, her location, her position in the industry, or her relationship status. She is transitioning out of the hard times and flying toward the success and joy. And because of the stork, I think by the end of August, everything gonna be finalized and figured out by Kim Soo Hyun, and she gonna be relieved. Okay, so no more stress for her. Yeah, so whenever I see the stork here, I can see the positivities. And at the bottom, I think it tells me that maybe in the future, this Tower card represents her standing strong and perhaps signing new official contracts. I don't know when she's gonna renew her contract with her current agency, but sometime it could be in the talk about that. Yeah, I think she could carefully inspect every legal documents or aspect regarding the contract, and so that can help her to make a life decision to ensure that it aligns perfectly with her highest hopes and dreams here. Ji-won is very smart, very thorough, and completely independent. Alright, so I think she gonna make a lot of financial decisions in August as well. I think she is taking charge of her assets and her own career path. Maybe she try to lighten the impact of her agency starting next month. Okay, so I think that is all that I can figure out at the moment. Okay, yeah, so overall in August, Ji-won have a lot of stress, especially about the huge quantity of proposals, contract offers that she has to review to make a final decision. Okay, so yeah, very stressful, very intense for Ji-won in August here. I hope that she can share and seek for guidance from the people that she loves and she trusts. Okay, so to ease her out of all of the stress here. All right, so lastly, let's move on to the finals love life Lenormand reading for Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Soo Hyun. Stars, Tower, Cross, Bouquet, Scythe, Moon, Rider, Coffin, and Birds. Wow, this is very beautiful. Even though we have the cross, the scythe, and a coffin, but overall, I think that's quite beautiful and lovely. Let's take a look at the central line again. We have stars, sign, and birds. Yeah, I think you may have been noticing that the stars show up quite a lot here in the decks for Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Soo Hyun. For their 4 previous individual spreads, they somehow have some repeated cards, so I think there's maybe some kind of connected energies here, but I didn't mention it at all in their previous 4 spreads because I want to look at the final Lenormand reading here. And yeah, we can see some connection here, and with the stars, which represents cosmic guidance, high dreams, and divine timing, this is a soulmate level card, and this flows directly into the heart of the reading, which is the scythe here, and we have the bird. So scythe, like I said, it is something very sudden, okay? But it's not always negative, okay? So each card have both of the positive and negative side in it. So we can look at the last card of the birds here. This represents anxiety, nervous chatters, and endless public rumor. So I think this diagonal tells me that there is some massive public fantasy surrounding them. What can I say? There's gonna be a lot of gossiping. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of media noise, a lot of guessing, a lot of hope, a lot of wishes and dreams. But you know what? The overall energy of these cards, it tell me about one thing, but I am not confident to talk about, okay? But I will tell you, it is regarding marriage and long-term commitments. All right. There is no ring that's showing up in this deck, but with the tower, it represents the official institution. The cross represents the church. The bouquet is right here. The rider, which is some news. It could be the marriage official. Okay. And we heard the birds, which is about chit-chatting. It's about people gathering and talking about that. And moon is about emotions, okay? And I just want to say that the first thought of me when I see those cards is about their love life commitments, about their marriage. But it is only a how do I say that? It is just the thought of myself, okay? This prediction does not represent the truth, okay? I don't know what Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Soo Hyun is planning for this themselves, but maybe the idea of getting married sparkles again in August. Okay, so I think because of the coffin here in the scythe, it represents the cut, the ending. So I think maybe after they move on and completely get themselves out of all of the controversies, I think they're gonna start thinking about officially tying the knot together. Okay, but that is a very positive thought of me. But now let's go back to the reality with the coffin and the bird and the side over here. It is a very highly stressful frame. Okay, we have the highest wishes are burdened by the cross. The card of heavy fate, sacrifice, and emotional trials. Okay, we have the fast-moving information of incoming news feeding straight into the birds, which represent anxiety, public chatters, and gossipings, rumors. I think this shows me that there's could be some new developments or incoming news regarding the bond immediately triggers a wave of the public scrutiny and stress. Okay, but keeping the personal hopes alive under the weight of this massive public trial is an exhausting day-to-day burden for both of them. Okay, but you know what, there is a balance energy in this deck. Okay, we have some beautiful cards like the bouquet, the stars, and the moon. So don't worry too much about all of the chit-chatting over here. Okay, so I think there could be some rumors going on in August, but I think both of them try to isolate themselves in the tower to not be affected by the rumors, because marriage or official commitments is important, but however, their career at this point is very significant to each of them. All right, so they have to weigh the options together. They need to figure out what would be the best approach to conclude their life together. With the mirror row over here, I think it represents the beautiful feelings and appreciations in the romantic gestures. But because of the side here, it cut the emotion and the celebrations over here. So I think it means that any desire to share the beautiful and romantic moments or to let the feeling flow naturally is being sharply cut off. Okay, so out of the necessity for the careers, they are actively suppressing their romantic expression. Okay, okay, maybe they are choosing the professional over the public romance. I don't want to think about it that way, but I think they have a lot of options. Yeah, I think they have to wait to see which side is heavier, which option is better. But if the result, the most ultimate result that we can think of them being together, it could happen, but not gonna be public for a while. Okay, so maybe they're just gonna do it in silence. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe in August their commitment conversations gonna spark again. Okay, yeah, I really hope that all of the positive energy gonna be surrounded by them and give them support to come to the final conclusion. Yeah, what else I can get from here? Okay, I think, yeah, they really have to focus on cutting off this burden and weighing on the emotional peace and public status. Yeah, it is not easy for them to have a normal relationship under these difficult conditions. Oh yeah, I really hope all the best gonna come to them. Okay, this is reality. They are not living a fairy tale, so they have to make very tough and highly strategic decision for themselves. I think they're gonna have some silence about themselves for a moment, but sometimes the most profound way to love someone in the spotlight is to keep them completely hidden from the world. Alright, so I hope all the best gonna happen to Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Soo Hyun. Alright, and thank you so much for joining me today. Honestly, it's been really long and I very appreciate you watching the video. Alright, let me know what your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, so until next time, bye bye.